All right, we should be live. What's going on with y'all? Back at it. We got some stuff to talk about now, finally. In Giants land, it's been a little quiet. In the NFL landscape altogether, it's been a little quiet, but we here with it. Just waiting for a couple people to pop in. Hard Knocks episode 1 did drop yesterday, if you didn't know. And I hope you seen it. Hope you watched it, because we're here to talk about it today, man. Got a couple of different takeaways to talk about it. Let me go ahead and post up the stream real quick. Let me post up this stream. What's going on with y'all, man? Say what's good in the chat once you get here. You already know the time. You know what time it is. Say what's up in the chat once you get up in here. And how you been? How's it been going? It's been a little while. Hopefully you don't hear my dog in the background. I got a dog now. I don't think the last time I've been live I had a dog. So I do have a dog now. Once again, man, say what's good once you pop in here, man. Hard Knocks episode 1 was everything I could have wanted. Everything I thought it would be. And I'm excited to see what else we get from Hard Knocks overall. I feel like my biggest takeaway, one of the biggest takeaways from it is that those people are just like us, man. The way they just chatted up and really talk about the position of the team and, you know, what direction we're heading in, who we're looking at. It's crazy to see that a lot of the things that we talk about, they're right in line with it. Right in line with it. It's crazy. Tuto. What's going on, my guy? How you doing? How's everything going over there, man? How's everything going, my guy? But biggest things, if you didn't see my video speaking on the reaction about it, if you didn't see that video, we did talk about Daniel Jones being a feature. Saquon Barkley, they touched on heavily. They did speak on, you know, potentially trading for Brian Burns, which in hindsight, we know we traded for Brian Burns. But that little tidbit where he was talking with the Panthers GM was really insightful to see, man. We got a couple people in the building, man. Make sure you say what's good in the chat. Say what's good in the chat once you pop in here, man. We're here to talk about Hard Knocks episode 1. I want you guys to let me know if you did watch it and what were your thoughts, because that's what we're here to talk about. I'm definitely excited to see more. I think, you know, obviously they kind of touched on everything that had a trailer for. So they touched on, you know, a lot of the pieces that we saw in the trailer were already shown. So I'm excited to see what else is, you know, to be revealed. Those conversations with Malik Neighbors and other draft prospects who they maybe were looking at. Potentially seeing who else is trying to trade with them. We know the Falcons were trying to trade up to 6, potentially. So that's what we're here to talk about, man. But overall, like I said, from episode 1, my biggest takeaway, Shane was hammering down on Daniel Jones. Hammering down on the fact that Daniel Jones would be our QB. Tudo was good. He said, James, me and a few of my teammates are here at the house in Princeton, and we will be going back to Italy and get ready for International Friendlies Camp next week. Love to see it, man. So have you been in like a little off season? Has it been a little off season? Because I'll tell you what, this off season for us right now is, I need football back. I need football back, man. I know you had a championship a couple of months ago, so that's why I think you're on the off season now. Could be wrong. But good to see you, man. Glad you're doing all well. I'm waiting for the Giants to ramp up. We need training camp starts at the end of this month. So I'm just waiting for a training camp to roll around. We got a lot more to talk about once training camp starts. And really start about position battles, who we can see starting, who we can see getting cut. That's what we're looking at. But right now, at least Hard Knocks starts early. Hard Knocks starting now before training camp gives us a little breathing room, but also gives us just time to take up before training camp. Because, man, like I told you in a couple of my videos, I'm not trying to, you know, drag out some topics for you guys, man. I want to bring good quality content for y'all and talk about things that are actively going on. So So yeah, man, just off of 4 weeks. Yes, sir. Hope you were resting up, treating you well. Once again, man, we got more people in the building, man. Say what's good in the chat. You already know what time it is. When we go live, we're all chatting here. We're all talking about it. Back to what I was saying. Shane talking about Daniel Jones, talking about $40 million. He's going to be the QB for the next 4 years. He signed to a 4-year contract. He was really hammering that down. And now, once again, I'm not a Daniel Jones apologist, but I don't also want to be a Daniel Jones hater. What is, scripted and what's not? Is some of that stuff scripted? What do you guys think? If you haven't seen it already, man, Joe Shane spoke on Daniel Jones a couple different times and was pretty much saying that's our QB, especially considering when it came to Saquon Barkley and his contract situation. He was saying, we're not paying our quarterback $40 million to go ahead and hand it off to a $12 million running back. That sentence right there spoke loudly. And once again, I just think with everything that we feel with Daniel Jones, and everything that we heard with the rumblings of them potentially trading up for a QB, once again, I don't know what we're going to see. I don't think they're going to show that at all, but we know they love Drake May, and they were trying to get up to go get Drake May. I find it hard to believe that Shane is openly talking about Daniel Jones this way, especially considering, I said in my last video, if you haven't seen it already, when he spoke on Patrick Mahomes, saying Patrick Mahomes wouldn't even be able to survive behind that line. Granted, that's something that we would say. We would say that 100%. I did not expect Joe Shane to talk that way, and even use that itself. So I don't know. I don't know what to take from it, man. I do not know what to take from it. Other things I really want to see, once again, I want to see Malik Neighbors, their pre-draft process, because I do feel like, I'm not going to be that guy, but after we drafted Neighbors, I feel like there wasn't that much content put out there with him, especially right now. Like, you're seeing a lot of posts of Giants in their uniforms, but right now Neighbors isn't getting posted in his uniform because they don't know if he's going to keep 9, so they don't really want to broadcast number 9 if he's not going to wear it. So it's just all up in the air, but I'm excited to see some background access with that, because that's what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting to see something with Malik Neighbors and the Giants prior to getting drafted or something, but they definitely been keeping it on the low when it comes to HBO. I did have someone, I think it was Mike. He commented and let me know, because one of the things I spoke on was I wanted to see more Brian Daboll, and it is only the first episode. I'm not too sure how many episodes it's going to be. It's probably 4 to 6, between 4 to 6. Brian Daboll apparently blasting copyrighted music anytime he was out on the practice field. So hopefully HBO is having issues when it comes to recording that portion, which I find interesting. Man. Maybe Brian Daboll doesn't want to, be featured on there, doesn't want the distraction. Could be the case. But I find it interesting. Omega, what's good? What's good, my guy? How's everything doing, man? Hope all is well, man. Hope all is well. Yeah, man, I need football to be back. Especially after watching Hard Knocks episode 1 and seeing the ending. I need football to be back. Because that last minute and 30 seconds could inject that into my veins, man. The way they were just like, and obviously it wasn't practice, so they weren't like fired up completely, but in terms of the whole direction of this team, he's pretty much saying we're riding with Daniel Jones. Do I agree? Not necessarily, but let's do it. We're paying him that money. Let's do it. Once again, let me know how you guys feel about Hard Knocks so far. What else did we touch on? Daniel Jones and his rehab process. That's one of the not underlying, but him rehabbing and getting back right is definitely something that we all have to be on the watch for, to make sure this guy's going to be ready by week 1. That's something you got to make sure of, and he should with the timeline. But you never know. You never know how that knee could be treating him. And he's going through rehab. Once again, he did tear his ACL, so it's a lengthy rehab. It's not something that's going to happen quick. And luckily, he's a quarterback, so he might not necessarily, need all the rehab that, like, per se, Saquon Barkley when he tore his ACL. But the difference is that Daniel Jones likes to use his legs. Will he be confident using his legs? Something I shared about myself previously, I did tear my ACL, so I know a little bit how it feels. But he also makes millions of dollars and has all the right training in his corner, so I'm sure he'll be fine. But for a little bit, it's a mental hurdle. It's a mental hurdle to get over planting in that leg fully. So that's something that's gonna be focused on. They had a little segment where they were showing him doing workouts and speaking on trying to get back. Daniel Jones has had injuries, but hasn't had a season-ending injury like that, like tearing an ACL. So that is definitely an underlying topic going into it. Sleazy was good. Sleazy said, "What's good, my guy? Nice to see you popping in. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling with the Hard Knocks episode 1? Trying to get a pulse check on the Giants fans. How we feeling after the Hard Knocks episode? Once again, man, we got a couple people in here. Say what's good in the chat. We're here to talk about episode 1 of Hard Knocks. And once again, if it wasn't for Hard Knocks, man, what would we be here talking about? Now, I did drop a couple of my previews. If you haven't seen my linebacker preview, after this live stream ends, go check out that linebacker preview. Definitely top 2 position unit on this squad. So if you have not checked out that video, you need to check out that video. Let me pull it up real quick. Oh. This, now I don't know why the Elgato screen is there. We're just going to slide that to the side. But right here, man, linebacker group, linebacker preview right here. Yeah. Go ahead and watch that video once we're off this. Go ahead and watch that video. Sleazy was good. He said people now switching on Mara to Joe. LMAO, I can't with this fan base. It's crazy. And now once again, like when New York, we know how we are, man. We know how we are. Sometimes love it, love how passionate we are. Sometimes hate it. But people didn't like some of the things that they heard from Shane, some of his mannerisms. Even speaking on Saquon Barkley and the negotiations that happened last year, he was saying it took 10 years off my life. It was very emotionally draining. He's just telling the truth. Like we can't have our guys tell the truth now. Like we need him to be cutthroat. Last year was tough when it came to those negotiations, and people are looking at it like I don't want my GM to react that way. He's being honest, and he's on the behind the scenes show with Hard Knocks. Like, come on, bro. Everyone's starting to pile on Joe Shane. And granted, this is year 3, right? Year 3 in his system. Year 3 with his draft picks. This team is obviously his team for sure. Not too many Gettleman pieces that are still on this team. So we need some results soon, and that's why some people are giving it to him. Did you see the clip from ESPN saying we have the worst roster in the NFL? I can't believe that. I refuse to believe it. Worst roster in the NFL is such a long stretch. And I'll go over it a bit, right? You know, my biggest thermostat when it comes to certain teams, first thing I go to is, and y'all gonna laugh at me for this, first thing I go to is, did this team lose to the Giants? If you lost to the Giants, you're one of the worst teams in the NFL. You know who lost to the Giants last year? Washington. Twice lost to the Giants. Oh, Vikings lost to the... We didn't play the Vikings last year. But the Vikings are not a better team than us. That's my opinion. They can have Justin Jefferson all they want. They're not a better team than us. On defense or on offense, I'll hold off. On defense, they're not better than us. Cardinals, it's up in the air. They got Kyler Murray. But are they a better team? Not too sure. Packers, you know, we beat them last year, but it was kind of up in the air. We beat the Eagles one time. That's up in the air. There's a couple of teams that are not better than us. Thank you, Sleazy. Pats, big facts. Patriots, are the Patriots a better team than us? Come on, y'all. A better roster. Because look at it from that point, right? A better roster. They're not saying a better team necessarily, even though that is what that means. A better roster. Go position group by position group with a couple of these teams. Do you really feel like this team is better than us? And it all hinges on the quarterback most likely, but still. John was good. He said, yeah, but to say Minnesota is not better is crazy. What makes Minnesota better? In what way? They have Justin Jefferson, obviously one of the best wide receivers in the league. Who's playing quarterback for them? They still don't know if they're going to start Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy week 1. Who on that defense really scares you? Did they re-sign Danielle Hunter or is Danielle Hunter out? I can't remember where Danielle Hunter went to. Danielle Hunter is a Houston Texan. I forgot about that. But who on that defense scares you? There's no household name on that defense. Minnesota's not better, man. Who else was bad last year that kind of drafted ahead of us? We know the Chargers were. That's a fake bad team. We did lose Saquon, but we just added some pieces as well, and that's just what I look at. Sleeve says Broncos and Panthers are definitely not better. Thank you. Listen, I'm missing part of it. Broncos definitely, their defense could maybe carry them and maybe have a better roster. Having Patrick Surtain on that side, and then they have a good D lineman. Justin Simmons isn't there anymore though. Maybe he'll be on the Giants. Maybe. But the Panthers, does the Panther have a better roster than us from all position groups? I can't say too much about a wide receiver group, but wide receivers, do they? Bryce Young still has yet to show anything. Is that offensive line better than us? I know we had one of the worst offensive lines, so we can't really talk, but theirs was pretty bad too. I think they were second worst compared to us. On that defense, Derek Brown. But what else? Come on, man. Let's go. Omega says, however, despite additions such as edge rusher Burns, offensive lineman Illuminor Wendy Jr., and receiver Neighbors, the Giants' 2024 roster still isn't inspiring much confidence, landing dead last. Dead last is crazy. Dead last is crazy. I'm going to have to pull that up for myself. Giants roster ranked last. But does anyone did anyone catch that part where I kind of cringed when I saw Shane Bowen talking about Ryder Anderson, and this is before Brian Burns was on the team, before we made that trade. But Shane Bowen was mentioning we need a front four that's going to get after it, which love to hear that. That's what we want to see. That's what we've always been wanting to hear and see. And then talking about Boogie Basham and Ryder Anderson, can they get after the quarterback? Come on now. I'm glad they made that move for Brian Burns, because if that was our contingency, man, why didn't Aziz come up in that situation, right? Like, why was Aziz not in that conversation? Boogie Basham's an outside linebacker just like Aziz. So Ryder Anderson, he can kind of play both the interior and be on the outside as well. Man, worst roster? Worst roster. So you said, John, banks are closed on Sundays. Remember that JJ not getting open. That's big facts. And we got 14 people in here, man. Say what's good in the chat. Say what's good in the chat. Let me know how you feel about Hard Knocks episode 1. How we feeling overall with the Giants. And we're just here to vibe out, man. Haven't been live in a minute. But guess what? With Hard Knocks kicking off and obviously the summer picking up a little slowly but surely. Every week that Hard Knocks episode drops, Wednesday night, I'm going live. So best believe, mark your calendars if you're here in the live chat right now. Every Wednesday for Hard Knocks going on at the moment, Wednesday nights we're here. Now, when the practices kick off during training camp, we're going to see what the schedule is really looking like. But best believe when week 1 kicks off, every Wednesday night, we're here to talk about the team, man. We're here to talk about it. Trying to think back if there's anything else that I really love to see. Once again, seeing Joe Shane's personality, I feel like, that's healthy. It's healthy to see that and really good to see that type of interaction. One of my favorite pieces, and sadly, they kind of showed it before we dropped episode 1. Because if episode 1 dropped and I didn't see this and I saw it, I probably would be talking about it this whole time. Joe Shane talking with the Panthers GM, really negotiating, kind of kicking off negotiations. That was really dope to see at the Senior Bowl practices. It was just very casual. And once again, that's kind of like us. We're sitting here talking about ball, talking about potentially what can we do to get better. And then we got Joe Shane over here, referencing to Brandon Beane and the Panthers GM, like, hey, you want to trade up to 6? Like, what would you offer for 6? And slowly but surely, you see the Panthers GM go ahead and say, "Will you give us 2 firsts for Brian Burns?" And first of all, 2 firsts was crazy for Brian Burns. Someone offered 3 firsts at one point. It was the Rams, and they didn't take it. So now it'd be like 2 firsts. No, that was gonna happen. But seeing how far it stemmed back since February, before free agency, talking about that, and as we know, Brian Burns was traded for with a 2nd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. This guy was over here starting off with 2 firsts. That was not gonna happen. And obviously, it was more of a joke because then he also referenced 1 first and maybe something else. But it's cool to see, man. Really dope to see that type of interaction. Just 2 GMs, and obviously, he has a history with that GM, but nevertheless, seeing that was crazy. How we feeling about Daboll most likely calling plays? Man, I was calling for that all year last year. And I do feel like, maybe he stepped in a little bit more. But I've been calling for him to call plays, all since last year. And honestly, we had the success we had in our first year, and we made the playoffs and won a playoff game. But I always wanted Daboll to call the plays. I did. I don't think Mike Kafka has done a bad job at play calling. But I just feel like if you are Brian Daboll, you are this offensive guru, really, really talented offense in Buffalo. They had the talent, but their play calling was perfect. I want to see your fingerprints on this team, and obviously it is, but I want to see you calling the plays. Last year we had the worst offense in the league. Worst offense in the league. And for you to be an offensive-minded coach, I want you to go ahead and change those things. So, hopefully it's going to get confirmed, and I think it should be, but Brian Daboll should be calling plays for us next year. And I'm excited. I'm excited because I think that's what we need to see. I want to see more Brian Daboll. That's what I want. Hopefully, they still got some airtime with Brian Daboll overall. And he's not going to be on this Hard Knocks. I know it's more about the front office, but still. I want to see more Brian Daboll content. That's what I need to see. We didn't see nobody else except Daniel Jones pretty much. You didn't see Dexter Lawrence being talked to or anything like that. I really wonder if they're going to start talking to players, if they're going to start talking to players. But once again, I'm really excited to see the whole process with the draft group, obviously the combine, all that. That's going to be happening this next episode on next Tuesday. So I'm excited for that, man. There's one thing you're excited to see, man. Let me know down in the comments, in the chat. Let me know in the chat what's one thing you're excited to see from this Hard Knocks. One thing you're excited to see. For me, like I said, the draft group is definitely what I'm interested to see. But I need all the Malik Neighbors content I can get. Drop it all. The pre-questioning, maybe another meeting. They probably have multiple meetings, the workout. I need to see it all. Because I just feel like we haven't seen enough about our first round pick. We haven't seen enough. Have not seen enough. I don't want to get Neighbors jersey yet, but we can't even get a Neighbors jersey right now because we don't know what number he's going to wear. So go ahead and drop in the comments, man, in the chat. What's one thing you're looking forward to on this Hard Knocks? What's something you want to see? Now, Joe Shane, real quick. Joe Shane talking about, fixing the offensive line for Daniel Jones. Obviously, this is all hindsight before they made their signings. But seeing that was his priority and, obviously they allocated resources towards that. It's good to see him come through on that. Now, the cornerback position didn't really get touched. Obviously, we drafted a cornerback, but, signing free agents, we didn't really add too many. And that was one of the positions of note that he noted. I can't remember the one gentleman's name, but the one that was pretty much pitching every free agent, that guy, he's gonna be moving up someday for sure, whether it be with the Giants or somewhere else. But he was coming with the facts, spitballing everything about the free agents and what we could possibly look into, how much they'll cost, the range. When they showed Chris Jones, I just laughed because there was no way that was gonna happen. But even thinking about Chris Jones and Dexter Lawrence being on the same D line is crazy. It would be crazy to see that happen. But yeah, man. Overall, they dabbled on everything. I'm really excited to see them hone in on this whole draft process. And I believe, what day did free agency begin? NFL free agency. I want to know the time frame because we know they're about to cover March 4th was when it happened. Oh yeah, that's probably getting a little touched next episode then. Because right now they're kind of in February, late February for the combine. Most likely they'll be touching on free agency shortly. And that's what I'm excited to see, man. We got a couple people in the chat. Say what's good in the chat, man. Go ahead and say what's good in the chat. Once again, every Wednesday, next couple weeks, we're going back to live. We got something to talk about, and it's going to be these Hard Knocks episodes. I have a recap after every single episode, and we're also going to be here live talking about Hard Knocks overall. If you haven't seen it, once again, I please advise you to go see it. It's on HBO Max. If you got HBO Max. If you don't, I'm not going to be held liable, but go find a way to watch it. And if you know, you know what I'm talking about. Go find a way to watch it, whether it be legally or not. Go find a way to watch that, man. But yeah, man. Once again, I'm excited to be able to talk about these things. Got some more content to talk about now. We still got a couple more previews that we're gonna be dropping: cornerback position, wide receiver position, running back position. Still got a couple position groups to talk about. Quarterback's going to be the last one we talk about. The last one. We know what the situation is, but we really got to hone in on, are we going to see Drew Lock at one point this season? I hope we don't. I hope there's not a situation where we do. But we'll see what ends up happening, man. We will see what ends up happening. Overall, man, I appreciate you guys for joining up. Once again, next Wednesday, stay tuned. I will have another video dropping, so stay tuned for that. Enjoy your July 4th. Happy 4th. Happy Independence Day. Be safe. If you don't know, there are a lot of things that happen and take place on July 4th, so please be safe because we need you back here next Wednesday when we go live. But nevertheless, man, enjoy your day off. You got the day off. I do work tomorrow, but best believe I have a video dropping regardless. I will catch you guys on the next one. Go Giants. Go Big Blue. Stay blessed, y'all. Be back here next Wednesday. Peace.